I'm just sat here thinking, is there a worse year than 2025 for leaks for Google? Like, when it comes to the Made by Google event on August 20th, there really isn't anything left to know. Like, we've seen the Pixel 10 in person being filmed for a commercial. We've seen renders for all the phones, watches and buds, and every spec that you might want to know about is already out there. So I want to give you a final rundown of everything that we should be seeing at that Made by Google event. And just to save myself here, remember, these are all rumors, so things could change. I mean, they probably won't, but they could. And let's start with Google's wearables. Very soon we should be seeing some new Pixel Buds, but not a Pro pair. Instead, they are going to be the Pixel Buds 2a. We haven't seen a new pair of these since 2021, so it's about time they had a refresh. But with a refreshed design comes a refreshed price, and the Pixel Buds A currently are $99, but if you want to pick up the Pixel Buds 2a, they're going to set you back $149. But there are some nice additions coming to the A series. The big upgrade is active noise cancellation, which I feel like all headphones at this point should just have. It will differ slightly though to the noise cancellation that is on the Pixel Buds Pro 2, because the A series will miss out on one big thing, and that is Silent Seal 2. What Silent Seal 2 does is it recognizes noises like street sounds and buildings and works to reduce that sound before it hits your ears. So it's kind of like a smarter version of noise cancellation. So we will get the ANC, but the chances are that this is going to be more similar to the ANC on the Pixel Buds Pro rather than the Pixel Buds Pro 2. Battery is apparently getting a bump as well, so we're going to get 7 hours of listening time and 20 hours with the charging case, and that's up from the 5 hours on the original A series. And with the last generation of Pixel Buds A cases, you actually got 24 hours of listening time, so we are taking a bit of a drop with that, but that's probably down to getting ANC. The A series will also see an addition of spatial audio, and it's not going to be the active head tracking like we get on the Pixel Buds Pro 2, but you are going to get some sort of spatial audio. And the case is not going to get wireless charging, so that's going to be reserved only for the Pro series of headphones. And I'll be honest, with the price at $149, if that actually happens, I would probably just look out for a deal or a sale on the Pixel Buds Pro 2, because you're going to get a little bit more for your money. You might have to spend $30 or $40 more, but I think it will be worth it. Right, let's move on to the next wearable from Google, and that will be the Pixel Watch 4. And this could end up being a pretty nice update. Of course, again, we've seen exactly how this watch is going to look from the renders and the exact color options, which Google somehow leaked themselves, which is very silly. And it's going to practically look the exact same as the Pixel Watch 3. It looks though like this is going to be sold as the Google Pixel Watch 4 with Gemini. This will be the first Google Watch sold off the shelf with Gemini built in, and it should allow you to raise your watch to speak directly to Gemini, get some AI assisted responses and AI text generated text suggestions that sound like you. I mean, I've no idea what that last bit means, but I mean, it sounds cool. The screen should be jumping from 2000 nits to 3000 nits, which is going to be a really nice change, especially when you're outdoors to see that screen. And battery life should be getting a small bump as well. So the 42mm up 7% and the 45mm up 9%. And it looks like the 41mm will be getting about 30 hours with the always on display on, and the 45mm, that's going to jump up to 40 hours. And there's going to be a Pixel stand, a new watch stand, which should be charging your battery 25% quicker, which is all very nice. But I don't know, I wish that we would just get like 7 days of battery lives on the Pixel watches, you know, a little bit like you get on a Huawei watch. So the bump in battery is nice, but it's still not amazing. When it comes to sport and activity, the Pixel Watch 4 should come with over 40 workout modes, which might be able to create custom running plans with live coaching. There should still be things like loss of pulse, ECG and SpO2 for blood oxygen reading. So not a groundbreaking update for the Pixel Watch. However, the Pixel Watch and the Pixel Buds 2a are not going to release at the same time as the phone. It seems like they're going to release sometime in October. So there is going to be a little bit of a wait before we can get our hands on this. Okay, let's talk about the main chunk of what that Made by Google event is going to be talking about, and that is going to be the Pixel 10 phones. And let me hit two things that are going to be on every single Pixel 10. All of these phones should be getting the Tensor G5, and of course it's not confirmed, but it should be a nice upgrade over the G4, with it being made by TSMC. But more surprisingly, we haven't really seen much leak about this. Now, what we have seen is that there should be a 36% increase, making it faster than the G4, but we've only seen this leak benchmark from an apparent Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and that was still quite a while ago. The Tensor G5 should be coming to all the Pixel 10s, and we don't know much about it yet, so I'm excited to see how it will perform. One other thing that should be coming to the entire Pixel lineup, according to the leaks, is something that I am really excited about, and this is called PixelSnap. PixelSnap is the name that's been given to the G2 accessories that Google is releasing alongside the Pixel 10. So what we should be getting is a charging stand, a kickstand. They've both been rumored, but the only leak that we've seen of this so far is a PixelSnap charging puck. Now this is pretty much the MagSafe wireless charging pad that would go on the back of an iPhone, but for a Pixel. And the best part about this is a couple of weeks ago I was curious whether you're going to have like a case that has Qi2 magnets in it, but it looks like that we're going to get these Qi2 magnets built right into the back of all of the Pixel 10s. And let me tell you, having those magnets built into the Pixel 10 series will be such a big upgrade. Like, there aren't any other major Android brands doing it right now. Shout out to the HMD Skyline for already having magnets built into the back, but Pixel would be the first major Android brand to do so. And you're either going to love or hate this next bit, but if you are in the US and you're thinking about upgrading to the Pixel 10, it looks like that the Pixel 10 series is going to completely get rid of that physical SIM card slot, and you're only going to be getting eSIM. And I know that is going to really annoy people, but I quite like eSIM. I haven't used a physical SIM in a while, but yeah, I mean, physical SIMs are going away in the US. Now, when it comes to the specs of the Pixel 10s, I'm not going to run through every single spec, because if you want to see that, you can go to the Android Authority website. We've got loads of pages on there. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about actually what is different about the new upcoming Pixels. So let me start with the Pixel 10, because this is exciting. The big change for the Pixel 10 is a third camera, and this should be a telephoto camera, which will be giving you a 5x optical lens and a 10.8 megapixel camera, which should be matching up with the same one that is inside the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. And apparently, from the leaked spec sheets, Google claimed that this can do up to 20 times zoom, which actually isn't very interesting on its own, but because Google are mentioning it, it gives me an idea and a thought that this might have something to do with AI. So I'm curious to see what will happen with the 20 times zoom and whether it does include anything to do with AI enhancing or not. And the only other difference really for the Pixel 10s is a brighter 3000 nits display and a bigger battery that Google says should last 24 hours plus. And of course, if you want to see all the colors of the new Pixel 10s, then you can, because they are out there. So the 4 colors you're going to get to pick from are Obsidian, Indigo, Frost, and Limoncello, which I'm on the fence about. And that's kind of it for the Pixel 10. So let me move on to the 10 Pros, and while we're talking about colors, we can see all the colors for these as well. You get your classic Obsidian and Porcelain for the 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL, and joining that is Moonstone, which I've got to tell you, this might just be my favorite color on a phone that I have ever seen. And then following it is maybe my second favorite color, because Google is introducing a Jade color. The changes to the Pro phones this year though are pretty limited, and some of the biggest upgrades are going to be battery. Now the Pixel 10 Pro is going to jump to 4,870 mAh, and the Pixel 10 Pro XL is going to have the biggest battery in any Pixel ever at 5,200 mAh, which Google again states from leaked specs can do 24 hours plus battery. But honestly, besides them maybe ditching eSIM and bigger batteries, the only other notable change that I can think of off the top of my head is that the cameras are changing ever so slightly, and basically they are the same exact cameras as last year. But the only change here is going to be that the telephoto camera can now do macro photography. So that means you get the choice of using the ultra wide and the telephoto for macro. And I really like macro photography on a telephoto lens, so I'm happy that Google are introducing this. Oh, and talking of the telephoto lens, again, from those leaked specs, what we actually saw was that Google say that the Pro phones can do 100 times zoom, and 100 times zoom usually isn't very good. I remember seeing it on the Galaxy phones a couple of years ago, and it kind of was like a bit of a useless photo. So again, because this is touted on that spec sheet, it's making me think that it's going to have something to do with AI, and it might enhance the photos somewhat. So I think we're going to see Google talk quite a bit about this at the Made by Google event. But honestly, changes for the rest of the phone are sparse, and if I haven't mentioned a spec here, then you can probably safely assume that it will be the same as last year's Pixel 9 Pros. I do want to touch on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold very quickly though, because the big update to the 10 Pro Fold is going to be the fact that it should get an IP68 rating, and for folding phones, this is huge. A lot of people think the weakest point on a folding phone is the fact that it's still susceptible to dust getting in there, but IP68 basically means that it will be fully dust and water resistant like a regular phone. Far as I know, there is no folding phone out there at the moment which is IP68 dust and water resistant, so Google will be the first here. The other change is a bigger battery, so the Pro Fold should be getting a 5015 mAh battery, which makes it the biggest non-silicon carbon battery in any foldable. So there's some good updates here. And it looks like you can pick this up in only a couple of colors, so the same as the Pro Pixels Moonstone, of course, which I love, and Jade. But I am going to be a bit disappointed if Google dropped the porcelain color here, because I think the porcelain color is always like the best option to go for on a Pixel phone. So having the Pixel Pro Fold be two colored options, I don't know, I think it might put a couple of people off. So honestly, that is everything that you might see at the Made by Google event on August 20th in New York. And I don't think that Google are going to drop anything that we don't already know about. I would be very surprised if Google surprised us with anything. Like, if you want to go and read all the full specs, you can do. You can go to the Android Authority website and you can read all about the specs for the entire Pixel 10 series, but there really isn't a lot changing this year. It's a refinement year. I mean, Google really nailed it with the design last year, so there's no changes to that. And sometimes I think having a refinement year is quite nice. And just remember, everything that I've mentioned and shown here is from leaks, so nothing is officially confirmed by Google. But if the leaks are true, then I think the biggest upgrade coming to all the phones this year is PixelSnap, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and of course, before you head off, why not subscribe to the Android Authority channel? And if you do that, then I will see you in the next video.